Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to you all. Today in the grade 7 for the subject chemistry, we are going to continue our lesson from the chapter 8, that is salt. We are going to continue from the page 104. So let's see the learning objectives of today's lesson. Today we are going to talk about an electrolyte, in which we will be going to see for electrolysis of brine and what are the different products during this electrolysis of brine, and also as the industrial uses, how this membrane cell is being used in the industrial purpose. So now here let's talk about firstly with an electrolyte. What is an electrolyte? We all aware, we have discussed this about the electrolyte, where an electrolyte is a compound which produces ions when it dissolves in solutions such as water. So the compound, when it dissolves in water, it produces ions. So we call it as electrolyte, and these ions have either positive charge or negative charge, which is why we refer to these electrolytes, these compounds, as electrolytes. Moreover, when we talk about an electrolyte, which is a substance that produces an electrically conducting solution when dissolved in a polar solvent such as water, and also we can say that a substance that dissociates into ions in a solution acquires a capacity to conduct the electricity is an electrolyte. So there are some examples by which they can conduct the electricity. The ions like sodium, potassium, chloride, calcium, magnesium and phosphates are the examples of electrolytes. So here this is all about an electrolyte. Furthermore, when we talk about the substance, the compound which we are using as an electrolytic in the electrolytic solution, there we can talk about a salt of sodium chloride. Salt is a substance which is produced by chemical bonding of metal and non-metal ions, as we are all aware of it, and these ions are usually not H plus or OH minus, an ionic molecule, but they can give you the sodium ion and the chloride ion. So here this is the sodium chloride in the solid form. When it dissolves in water, it gives you sodium ion and chloride ion, which is in the aqueous solution. So here this is what we can say, that salt of sodium chloride. Furthermore, when you talk about the electrolysis of brine, there the process of electrolysis involves using an electric current to bring about a chemical change and make new chemicals. So here, as we know that in our previous discussion, we see that the brine is a solution of sodium chloride and water. So the electrolysis of brine is a large scale process used to manufacture chlorine from the salt, and hence here there are two more other products also formed during this process. So in these two other useful chemicals are obtained during the process, called as sodium hydroxide and also the hydrogen gas. So here the hydrogen ions are reduced by electron gain to form hydrogen molecules at the negative electrode, where which attracts the positive ions. We can see here in the picture, this is the positive electrode, we call it as anode, whereas this is the negative electrode, which is a cathode. And this is the brine solution of an electrolyte, and here it is producing the hydrogen molecule at the negative electrode, whereas the chlorine is going to be get attracted towards the positive electrode. At the negative positive electrode, the chlorine molecule will be there at this electrode. So this is all about the brine electrolysis. Now furthermore, there are some products which are formed from this electrolysis of brine. So as we talk about, the three different products are formed here, and they are used as their uses as the chemical. So how these products are used and what are these products? So firstly, we are talking about the chlorine, which can be used as disinfectant and purifier manufacture of hydrochloric acid making plastics. So here these are the different uses for the chlorine. Sodium hydroxide for the processing food products, removing pollutants from the water, and manufacture of paper. So these are the uses of this sodium hydroxide, whereas the hydrogen molecule, which is formed from this electrolysis of brine, we are using it for the manufacture of hydrochloric acid and also for the potential as the pollution free fuel. So these are the uses. Here you can see with the picture that these the three different products which are formed from the solution here, solution of sodium chloride, and their uses as we have seen. As I told you that the hydrogen, which is used as a fuel for making ammonia, also it is used, and also the chlorine, which is used as sterilize water supplies, and to make bleach and hydrochloric acid the chlorine is used, whereas the sodium hydroxide is used in the soap also, and paper and bleach. So these are the different uses of these chemicals which are formed, compounds which we are getting from the product of the brine. So here this is the diagrammatic representation where at the cathode you will get the hydrogen molecule, at anode you will get the chlorine molecule, and the NaOH as an electrolytic solution. So here they are being used as different bases that we have seen here. Furthermore, when we talk about the industrial purpose, how this is being used in the industry, so here this is the diagrammatic representation for which we can say that the the things which are being used. There are several steps of cells which are used in the industry. The most modern is called membrane cell. So here we are talking about the membrane cell which is being used here. So now let's talk about how this membrane cell it is being working. So the membrane cell, firstly it is the most modern cell used in the industry is called a membrane cell. The process makes us use of brine and membrane cell with positive and negatively charged electrodes. Here we can see that this is the positive electrode and this is the negative electrode. So the positive electrode, as we say that it is an anode, and the negative electrode, which we say that it is the cathode. The electrolytic solution is here, that is of brine we are putting in this chamber. This is one container. This is the partition called the asbestos diaphragm or the any other plastic membrane particle, also we can use it here. From this solution of brine, only the sodium ion, which are the positive ions, they are going to get transferred to the another chamber, that is towards the cathode, and here it is the solution of brine containing sodium hydroxide solution here. Here when it is going, sodium ion are going to be get transferred to this cathode, the hydrogen gas is going to be get liberated out here. So here we can say that from this brine solution we are sodium chloride, as it is sodium chloride solution. So here the chlorine gas is being evolved. So in all, the process makes use of brine and a membrane cell with the positive and negatively charged electrodes. The anode oxidizes the chloride ion, which loses an electron to become free chlorine gas, and the hydrogen ions, we are going to see here the hydrogen ions which are forming here are pulled at the cathode and form the hydrogen gas. So hydrogen ions, they are forming the hydrogen gas here. The membrane, which we call it as the partition or the semi-permeable membrane of the cell, allows for the sodium ions to travel to the second chamber. From here, the sodium ions only can travel from here to the second chamber, and where they react with the water to produce sodium hydroxide, and it describes the basic membrane cell used in the electrolysis of brine. So this is all about the process that we are talking about, the industrial process. How does it works with the what we can say membrane cell. So this is what we will get here. Finally, the three different things, that is, one is the chlorine gas, hydrogen gas, and the sodium hydroxide. So with this, I am going to conclude here the today's lesson. I will be back with the new video for the further part of the lesson. Till then, thank you and goodbye.